Football Wife. In today's episode, we're going to talk about 3 keys to having a great Super Bowl party. Step 1, figure out who you're rooting for. If you're a Broncos fan or a Panthers fan, this step will be very easy. If not, there are a few ways you can figure out who you might want to pull for. Maybe you're a fan of the underdog. The Carolina Panthers are favored to win this weekend, so maybe you want to pull for the Broncos. Or depending on how you define underdog, the Broncos have been to the Super Bowl 8 times. This will be the Panthers' second trip. However, the Panthers have only been around since the 90s. Their first season was 1995, and they're already back at the Super Bowl for the second time in franchise history. So, I want to think about that angle. Then there's this kind of old guard versus new guard angle you could play with Peyton Manning versus Cam Newton. Peyton's been in the league since he was the #1 pick in 1999, and it's been highly speculated and rumored that this will be his last game, although he has not said anything publicly. And then there's Cam Newton. He was the #1 pick in 2011. He's this young guy getting into the prime of his career. He's been breaking tons of records. So maybe you want to play that angle to figure out who you're going to root for. Step 2, know an interesting piece of trivia to share with the other party guests. So one guy who might be having trouble figuring out how to root for is John Fox. John Fox is currently the coach of the Chicago Bears. However, his previous 2 jobs, he was the coach of the Carolina Panthers right before Ron Rivera, and he was coach of the Denver Broncos right before Gary Kubiak. So his 2 previous coaching jobs, those teams are now playing against each other in the Super Bowl. John Fox, coach of the Bears, they didn't even make the playoffs this year. Step 3, get in on the action. There's a lot of fun little gambling games that happen at Super Bowl parties, and one of the most common is squares. It's a really fun way to get into a game when you don't really care about the outcome. So, before the game starts, somebody will pass around a piece of paper that looks something like this. It'll be a grid of 10 by 10. It'll probably look a little bit nicer than this and not be on the back of a 2-year-old's art project, but you kind of get the idea. So what'll happen is you will buy a square. Usually they're like $1, $2, $5 per square, and you'll write your name randomly in the squares. And then one side will be labeled, this would be like the AFC team, this will be the NFC team. Once the squares are all filled out with everybody who wants to play, somebody will draw numbers out of a hat. And the numbers will randomly populate up here, 0 through 9 and 0 through 9. Now, there's kind of some different ways to play, but typically at the end of each quarter, based on the score, you'll look at your squares and somebody will win some money. So for instance, if the score of the end of the first quarter is Broncos 10, Panthers 7, you look at the last digit, so 10 is a 0, so you'd find wherever the 0 fell based on the drawing, and then you would find that 7, and whoever matched up wins a portion of the pot of money. And typically people will do this at the end of the first, second, third quarter, and then for the overall outcome of the game. Some parties it's an even pot, or some parties, it's a smaller percentage for the 3 quarters, and then the overall winner gets the big pot. So it's really fun. Definitely encourage you to play if you see this floating around your Super Bowl party. All right, football fans, there you go. I hope you all enjoy your Super Bowl parties. Shoot me a comment. Let me know who you think is going to win. I personally think that the Denver Broncos are going to win. This is because Peyton Manning has won every Super Bowl that I have ever seen him play in person. I went to the Super Bowl in 2007 when he won with the Colts, and I am going on Sunday to the Super Bowl. I am so excited, so I am predicting my presence will again spur Peyton Manning on to victory. All right, thanks guys for watching.